Good morning, everyone. Today is March the 30th, 2021, and is also the 17th of Nisan, 5781. And I'm back at my favorite coffee house, Panera, in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina. Now, whenever we got through yesterday, we stopped at um, chapter 22. So today we're going to pick up at chapter 23. So Sarah lived to be 127 years old. These were the years of Sarah's life. Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, also known as Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn Sarah and weep for her. Then he got up from his dead one and said to the sons of Het, I am a foreigner living as an alien with you. Let me have a burial site with you so that I could bury my dead wife. The sons of Het answered Abraham, Listen to us, my lord. You are a prince of God among us, so choose any of our tombs to bury your dead. Not one of us would refuse you this tomb for burying your dead. Abraham got up, bowed before the people of the land, the sons of Het, and spoke with them. If it is your desire to help me bury my dead, then listen to me. Ask Ephron the son of Zohar to give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns, the one at the end of his field. He should sell it to me in your presence at its full value. Then I will have a burial site of my own. Ephron the Hittite was sitting among the sons of Het, and he gave Abraham his answer in the presence of the sons of Het, who belonged to the ruling council of the city. No, my lord, listen to me. I'm giving you the field with its cave. I'm giving it to you. In the presence of my people, I give it to you. Abraham bowed before the people of the land and spoke to Ephron in their hearing. Please, be good enough to listen to me. I will pay the price of the field. Accept it from me, and I will bury my dead there. But Ephron answered Abraham, My lord, listen to me. A plot of land worth 400 silver shekels. What is that between me and you? Just bury your dead. Abraham got the point of what Ephron had said, so he weighed out for Ephron the amount of money he had specified in the presence of the sons of Het, 400 silver shekels of the weight accepted among merchants, which is 10 pounds. Thus the field of Ephron and Machpelah, which is by memory, the field, its cave, and all the trees in and around it were deeded to Abraham as his possession in the presence of the sons of Het, who belonged to the ruling council of the city. Then Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah by Mamre, also known as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and its cave had been purchased by Abraham from the sons of Het as a burial site, which would belong to him. By now Abraham was old. Chapter 24. By now Abraham was old, advanced in years, and Adonai had blessed Abraham in everything. Abraham said to the servant who had served him the longest, who was in charge of all he owned, Put your hand under my thigh, because I want you to swear by Adonai, God of heaven and God of the earth, that you will not choose a wife for my son from among the women of the Canaanite, among whom I am living, but that you will go to my homeland, to my kinsman, to choose a wife for my son Yitzhak. The servant replied, Suppose the woman isn't willing to follow me to this land. Must I then bring your son back to the land from which you came? Abraham said to him, See to it that you don't bring my son back there. Adonai, the God of heaven, who took me away from my father's house and away from the land I was born in, who spoke to me and swore to me, I will give this land to your descendants. He will send his angel ahead of you, and you are to bring a wife for my son from there. But if the woman is unwilling to follow you, then you are released from your obligation under my oath. Just don't bring my son back there. The servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning the matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and all kinds of gifts from his master, got up and went to Aram Naharaim, to Nahor's city. Toward evening, when the women go out to draw water, he had the camels kneel down outside the city by the well. He said, Adonai, God of my master Abraham, please let me succeed today and show your grace to my master Abraham. Here I am, standing by the spring, as the daughters of the townsfolk come out to draw water. I will say to one of the girls, please lower your jug so that I can drink. If she answers, yes, drink, and I will water your camels as well, then let her be the one you intend for your servant Yitzhak. This is how I will know that you have shown grace to my master. Before he had finished speaking, Rivkah, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with a jug on her shoulder. The girl was very beautiful, a virgin, never having had sexual relations with any man. She went down to the spring, filled her jug, and came up. The servant ran to meet her and said, please give me a sip of water from your jug to drink. Drink, my lord, she replied, and immediately lowered her jug onto her arm and let him drink. When she was through letting him drink, she said, I will also draw water for your camels until they have drunk their fill. She quickly emptied her jug into the trough, then ran again to the well to draw water, and kept on drawing water for all his camels. The man gazed at her in silence, waiting to find out whether Adonai had made his trip successful or not. When the camels were done drinking, the man took a gold nose ring weighing 1/5 of an ounce and 2 gold bracelets weighing 4 ounces and asked, whose daughter are you? Tell me, please, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? She answered, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son Milcah bore to Nahor, adding, we have plenty of straw and fodder and room for staying overnight. The man bowed his head and prostrated himself before Adonai. Then he said, blessed be Adonai, the God of my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his faithful love for my master, because Adonai has guided me to the house of my master's kinsman. The girl ran off and told her mother's household what had happened. Rivkah had a brother named Laban. When he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's wrists, besides, and when he heard his sister Rivkah's report of what the man had said to her, he ran out to the spring and found the man standing there by the camels. Come on in, he said, you whom Adonai has blessed. Why are you standing outside when I have made room in the house and prepared a place for the camels? So the man went inside, and while the camels were being unloaded and provided straw and fodder, water was brought for him to wash his feet and the feet of the men with him. But when a meal was set before him, he said, I won't eat until I say what I have to say. Laban said, speak. He said, I am Abraham's servant. Adonai has greatly blessed my master, so that he has grown wealthy. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male and female slaves, camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore my master a son when she was old, and he has given him everything he has. My master has made me swear, saying, you are not to choose a wife for my son from among the women of the Canaanite, among whom I am living. Rather, you are to go to my father's house, to my kinsman, to choose a wife for my son. I said to my master, suppose the woman isn't willing to follow me. Abraham answered me, Adonai, in whose presence I live, will send his angel with you to make your trip successful, and you are to pick a wife for my son from my kinsman and my father's house. This will release you from your obligation under my oath. But if, when you come to my kinsman, they refuse to give her to you, this too will release you from my oath. So today I came to the spring and said, Adonai, God of my master Abraham, if you are causing my trip to succeed in its purpose, then here I am, standing by the spring. I will say to one of the girls coming out to draw water, let me have a sip of water from your jug. If she answers, yes, drink, and I will water your camels as well, then let her be the woman you intend for my master's son. And even before I had finished speaking to my heart, there came Rivka, going out with her jug on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew water. When I said to her, please let me have a drink, she immediately lowered the jug from her shoulder and said, drink, and I will water your camels as well. So I drank, and she had the camels drink too. I asked her, whose daughter are you? And she answered, the daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him. Then I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrists, bowed my head, prostrated myself before Adonai, and blessed Adonai, God of my master Abraham, for having led me in the right way to obtain my master's brother's granddaughter for his son. So now, if you people intend to show grace and truth to my master, tell me. But if not, tell me, so that I can turn elsewhere. Lavan and Bethuel replied, since this comes from Adonai, we can't say anything to you, either bad or good. Rivka is here in front of you. Take her and go. Let her be your master's son's wife. As Adonai has said, when Abraham's servant heard what they said, he prostrated himself on the ground to Adonai. And then the servant brought out silver and gold jewelry, together with clothing, and gave them to Rivka. He also gave valuable gifts to her brother and mother. He and his men then ate and drank and stayed the night. In the morning they got up and said, send me off to my master. Her brother and mother said, let the girl stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that, she will go. He answered them, don't delay me, since Adonai has made my trip successful, but let me go back to my master. They said, we will call the girl and see what she says. They called Rivka and asked her, will you go with this man? She replied, I will. So they sent their sister Rivka away with her nurse, Abraham's servant, and his men. They blessed Rivka with these words, our sister, may you be the mother of millions, and may your descendants possess the cities of those who hate them. Then Rivka and her maids mounted the camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rivka and went on his way. Meanwhile, Yitzhak, one evening after coming along the road from Beer Lahai, he was living in the Negev, went out walking in the field. And as he looked up, he saw camels approaching. Rivka too looked up, and when she saw Yitzhak, she quickly dismounted the camel. She said to the servant, who is this man walking in the field to meet us? When the servant replied, it's my master, she took her veil and covered herself. The servant told Yitzhak everything he had done. Then Yitzhak brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rivka, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Thus was Yitzhak comforted for the loss of his mother. Chapter 25. Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Yoshan, Madan, Midian, Yishbak, and Shuach. Yokshan was father Shiva and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Ashuram, Letushim, and Lumim. The sons of Midian were Ipha, Epher, Hanak, Avida, and Aldaiah. All these were the descendants of Keturah. Now I suggest making a note of that Midian, M-I-D-Y-A-N, and in the King James it's pronounced Midian, M-I-D-I-A-N, that they are Midianites in the land of Midian, come from the son of Keturah, Midian. Because as we get on into Exodus, we'll find out that whenever Moses leaves Egypt, before the slaves are freed, the Israelites are freed from slavery, that he resides in the land of Midian. Abraham gave everything he owned to Yitzhak, but to the sons of the concubines he made grants while he was still living, and sent them off to the east, to the land of Kedem, away from Yitzhak his son. This is how long Abraham lived, 175 years. Then Abraham breathed his last, dying at a ripe old age, an old man full of years. And he was gathered to his people. Yitzhak and Ishmael, his sons, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, the Hittite by Mamre, the field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Het. Abraham was buried there with Sarah his wife. After Abraham died, God blessed Yitzhak his son, and Yitzhak lived near Beer Lahai Roi. Here is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian woman bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, listed in the order of their birth. The firstborn of Ishmael was Nebaioth, followed by Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Dumah, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Ketur, Naphish, and Kedman. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, according to their settlements and camps, 12 tribal rulers. This is how long Ishmael lived, 137 years. Then he breathed his last, died, and was gathered to his people. Ishmael's sons lived between Havilah and Shur, near Egypt as you go toward Ashur. He settled near all his kinsmen. Here is the history of Yitzhak, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Yitzhak. Yitzhak was 40 years old when he took Rivkah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramite from Padan Aram, and sister of Lavan, the Aramite, to be his wife. Yitzhak prayed to Adonai on behalf of his wife because she was childless. Adonai heeded his prayer, and Rivkah became pregnant. The children fought with each other inside her so much that she said, "If it's going to be like this, why go on living?" So she went to inquire of Adonai, who answered her, "There are 2 nations in your womb. From birth there will be 2 rival peoples. One of these peoples will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time for her delivery came, there were twins in her womb. The first to come out was reddish and covered all over with hair, like a coat. So they named him Esau, which means completely formed, that is, having hair already. Then his brother emerged, with his hand holding Esau's heel. So he is called Yaakov. He catches by the heel, he supplants. Yitzhak was 60 years old when she bore them. The boys grew, and Esau became a skillful hunter, an outdoorsman, while Yaakov was a quiet man who stayed in the tents. Yitzhak favored Esau because he had a taste for game. Rivkah favored Yaakov. One day when Yaakov had cooked some stew, Esau came in from the open country, exhausted, and said to Yaakov, "Please, let me gulp down some of that red stuff. That red stuff. I'm exhausted." This is why he was called Edom, red. Yaakov answered, "First tell me your rights as the firstborn." "Look, I'm about to die," said Esau. "What use to me are my rights as the firstborn?" Yaakov said, "First, swear to me." So he swore to him, thus selling his birthright to Yaakov. Then Yaakov gave him bread and lentil stew. He ate and drank, got up and went on his way. Thus Esau showed how little he valued his birthright. Chapter 26. The famine came over the land, not the same as the first famine, which had taken place when Abraham was alive. Yitzhak went to Gerar, to Abimelech, king of the Philistines. Adonai appeared to him and said, "Don't go down into Egypt, but live where I tell you. Stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you, because I will give all these lands to you and to your descendants. I will fulfill the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. I will give all these lands to your descendants, and by your descendants all the nations of the earth will bless themselves. All this is because Abraham heeded what I said and did what I told him to do. He followed my mitzvot, my regulations, and my teachings. So Yitzhak settled in Gerar. The men of the place asked him about his wife, and out of fear he said, "She is my sister." He thought, "If I tell them she's my wife, they might kill me in order to take Rivka. After all, she is a beautiful woman." But one day, after he had lived there a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, happened to be looking out of a window when he spotted Yitzhak caressing Rivka, his wife. Abimelech summoned Yitzhak and said, "So she is your wife after all? How come you said, 'She is my sister'?" Yitzhak responded, "Because I thought I could get killed because of her." Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people could easily have slept with your wife, and she would have brought guilt on us." Then Abimelech warned all the people, "Whoever touches this man or his wife will certainly be put to death." Yitzhak planted crops in that land and reaped that year 100 times as much as he had sowed. Adonai had blessed him. The man became rich and he prospered more and more until he had become very wealthy indeed. He had flocks, cattle, and a large household, and the Philistine envied him. Now the Philistine had stopped up and filled with dirt all the wells his father's servants had dug during the lifetime of Abraham his father. Abimelech said to Yitzhak, "You must go away from us, because you have become much more powerful than we are." So Yitzhak left, set up camp in Vadi Gerar, and lived there. Yitzhak reopened the wells which had been dug during the lifetime of Abraham his father, the ones the Philistine had stopped up after Abraham died, and called them by the names his father had used for them. Yitzhak's servants dug in the Vadi and uncovered a spring of running water. But the herdsman of Gerar quarreled with Yitzhak's husband, claiming, "That water is ours." So he called the well Esek, E-S-C-K, which means quarrel, because they quarreled with him. They dug another well and quarreled over that one too. So he called it Sitnah, S-I-T-N-A-H, enmity. He went away from there and dug another well, and over that one they didn't quarrel. So he called it Rehovot, it's R-E-C-H-O-V-O-T, wide open spaces, and said, "Because now Adonai has made room for us, and we will be productive in the land." From there Yitzhak went up to Beersheba. Adonai appeared to him that same night and said, "I am the God of Abraham your father. Don't be afraid, because I am with you. I will bless you and increase your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham." There he built an altar and called on the name of Adonai. He pitched his tent there, and there Yitzhak's servants dug a well. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar with his friend Ahuzat and Pichol, the commander of his army. Yitzhak said to them, "Why have you come to me, even though you were unfriendly to me and sent me away?" They answered, "We saw very clearly that Adonai has been with you. So we said, 'Let there be an oath between us. Let's make a pact between ourselves and you that you will not harm us, just as we have not caused you offense, but have done you nothing but good and sent you on your way in peace. Now you are blessed by Adonai." And just a little note here, that even though people have the same name of the time, we didn't know that this Abimelech is the same Abimelech as the one that Abraham deceived, because whenever Abraham had trouble with Abimelech's people stopping up his wells, it said that when Abimelech arrived, he had The commander of his army was Pekal. And right here in verse 26, it says that Abimelech comes and he has the commander of his army, Pekal, with him. And that would be too much of a coincidence to be two different kings. Verse 30. Yitzhak prepared a banquet for them, and they ate and drank. The next morning they got up early and swore to each other. Then Yitzhak sent them on their way, and they left them peacefully. That very day Yitzhak's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. "We have found water!" So he called it Shiva, S-H-I-V, apostrophe A-H, oath, or 7. And for this reason, the name of the city is Beersheba, well of 7, well of an oath, to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took his wives Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basmat, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. But they became a cause for embitterment of spirit to Yitzhak and Rivkah. In the course of time, after Yitzhak had grown old and his eyes dim, so that he couldn't see, he called Esau his older son and said to him, "My son?" And he answered, "Here I am." "Look, I'm old now. I don't know when I will die. Therefore, please take your hunting gear, your quiver of arrows and your bow. Go out into the country and get me some game. Make it tasty the way I like it, and bring it to me to eat. Then I will bless you as firstborn before I die." Rivkah was listening when Yitzhak spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went out to the country to hunt for game and bring it back, she said to her son Yaakov, "Listen, I heard your father telling Esau of your brother, 'Bring me game and make it tasty, so I can eat it. Then I will give you my blessing in the presence of Adonai before my death.' Now pay attention to me, my son, and do what I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me back 2 choice kids. I will make it tasty for your father the way he likes it, and you will bring it to your father to eat, so that he will give his blessing to you before his death." Yaakov answered Rivkah his mother, "Look, Esau is hairy, but I have smooth skin. Suppose my father touches me. He'll know I'm trying to trick him, and I'll bring a curse on myself, not a blessing." But his mother said, "Let your curse be on me. Just listen to me and go get me the kids." So he went, got them, and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared them in the tasty way his father loved. Next, Rivkah took Esau her older son's best clothes, which she had with her in the house, and put them on Yaakov, her younger son. And she put the skins of the goats on his hands and on the smooth parts of his neck. Then she gave the tasty food and the bread she had prepared to her son Yaakov. He went to his father and said, "My father?" He replied, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Yaakov said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I've done what you asked me to do. Get up now, sit down, eat the game, and then give me your blessing." Yitzhak said to his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" He answered, "Adonai, your God, made it happen that way." Yitzhak said to Yaakov, "Come here, close to me, so I could touch you, my son, and know whether you are in fact my son Esau or not." Yaakov approached Yitzhak his father, who touched him, and said, The voice is Yaakov's, but the hands are Esau's hands." However, he didn't detect him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, so he gave him his blessing. He asked, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am." He said, "Bring it here to me, and I will eat my son's game, so that I can give you my blessing." So he brought it up to him, and he ate. He also brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Yitzhak said to him, "Come close now and kiss me, my son." He approached and kissed him. Yitzhak smelled his clothes and blessed Yaakov with these words, "See, my son smells like a field which Adonai has blessed. So may God give you dew from heaven, the richness of the earth, and grain and wine in abundance. May peoples serve you and nations bow down to you. May you be lord over your kinsmen, and your mother's descendants bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." But as soon as Yitzhak had finished giving his blessing to Yaakov, when Yaakov had barely left his father's presence, Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He too had prepared a tasty meal and brought it to his father. And now he said to his father, "Let my father get up and eat from his son's game, so that you may give me your blessing." Yitzhak his father said to him, "Who are you?" And he answered, "I am your son, your firstborn, Esau." Yitzhak began trembling uncontrollably and said, "Then who was it that took game and brought it to me? I ate it all just before you came, and I gave my blessing to him." That's the truth, and the blessing must stand. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst into loud, bitter sobbing. "Father, bless me too," he begged. He replied, "Your brother came deceitfully and took away your blessing." Esau said, "His name, Yaakov, really suits him, because he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and here, now he has taken away my blessing." Then he asked, "Haven't you saved a blessing for me?" Yitzhak answered, "Esau, look, I have made him your lord. I have given him all his kinsmen as servants, and I have given him grain and wine to sustain him. What else is there that I can do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father? Father, bless me too." Esau wept aloud, and Yitzhak his father answered him, "Here, your home will be one of the riches of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you break loose, you will shake his yoke off your neck." Esau hated his brother because of the blessing his father had given him. Esau said to himself, "The time for mourning my father will soon come, and then I will kill my brother Yaakov." But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rivkah. She sent for Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, "Here, your brother Esau is comforting himself over you by planning to kill you. Therefore, my son, listen to me. Get up and escape to Laban, my brother in Haran. Stay with him a little while until your brother's anger subsides. Your brother's anger will turn away from you, and he will forget what you did to him. Then I'll send and bring you back from there. Why should I lose both of you on the same day?" Rivkah said to Yitzhak, "I'm sick to death of Hittite women. If Yaakov marries one of the Hittite women, like those who live here, my life won't be worth living." So Yitzhak called Yaakov, chapter 28. So Yitzhak called Yaakov, and after blessing him, charged him, "You are not to choose a wife from the Hittite women. Go now to the home of Bethuel, your mother's father, and choose a wife there from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May El Shaddai bless you, make you fruitful, and increase your descendants, until they become a whole assembly of peoples. And may he give you the blessing which he gave Abraham, you and your descendants with you, so that you will possess the land you will travel through, the land God gave to Abraham." So Yitzhak sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padan Aram, to Laban, son of Bethuel the Aramite, the brother of Rivkah, Yaakov's and Esau's mother. Now Esau saw that Yitzhak had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padanaram to choose a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he charged him, "You are not to choose a Canaanite woman as your wife," and that Jacob had listened to his father and mother and gone to Padanaram. Esau also saw that the Canaanite woman did not please Yitzhak his father. So Esau went to Ishmael and took, in addition to the wives he already had, Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Avram's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife. Yaakov went out from Beersheba and traveled toward Haran. He came to a certain place and stayed the night there, because the sun had set. He took a stone from the place, put it under his set, and lay down there to sleep. He dreamt that there before him was a ladder resting on the ground, with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of Adonai were going up and down on it. Then suddenly Adonai was standing there next to him, and he said, "I am Adonai, the God of Abraham, your grandfather, and the God of Yitzhak. The land on which you are lying I will give to you and to your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of dust on the earth. You will expand to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. But you and your descendants, all the families of the earth, will be blessed. Look, I am with you. I will guard you wherever you go. I will bring you back into this land, because I won't leave you until I have done what I have promised you." Yaakov woke from his sleep and said, "Truly, Adonai is in this place, and I didn't know it." Then he became afraid and said, "This place is fearsome. This has to be the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." And the interesting note about that verse is that Bet-El means house of God. And Bet-El is north of Jerusalem. Bethlehem is south of Jerusalem. And all three of those are in a straight line. Yaakov got up early in the morning, took the stone he had put under his head, and set it up as a standing stone, poured olive oil on its top, and named the place Bet-El, house of God. But the town had originally been called Luz. Yaakov took this vow: "If God will be with me and will guard me on this road that I am traveling, giving me bread to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return to my father's house in peace, then Adonai will be my God. And this stone, which I have set up as a standing stone, will be God's house. And everything you give me, I will faithfully return 1/10 to you." Luz means hazel or almond tree. That's all the information I found so far about the name of the word Luz. Chapter 29. Continuing his journey, Yaakov came to the land of the people of the east. As he looked, he saw a well in a field, and there were 3 flocks of sheep lying there next to it, because they watered the sheep from that well. The stone on the well's mouth was large, and only when all the flocks had gathered there would they roll the stone away from the opening of the well and water the sheep. Then they would put the stone back in its place on the well's opening. Yaakov said to them, "My brothers, where are you from?" They answered, "We're from Haran." He asked them, "Do you know Laban, the grandson of Nahor?" They said, "We do." He asked them, "Are things going well with them?" "Yes," they answered. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with her sheep." He said, "Look, there's still plenty of daylight left, and it isn't time to bring the animals home. So water the sheep, then go and put them out to pasture." They answered, "We can't, not until all the flocks have been gathered together." And they rolled the stone away from the opening of the well. "That's when we water the sheep." Excuse me. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, because she took care of them. When Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Yaakov went up and rolled the stone away from the opening of the well and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Yaakov kissed Rachel and wept aloud. Yaakov told Rachel that he was her father's relative, and that he was Rivka's son, and she ran and told her father. When Laban heard the news of Yaakov, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, hugged him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. Yaakov told Laban all that had happened. Laban said to him, "You are indeed my own flesh and blood." After Yaakov had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban said to him, "Why should you work for me for nothing, just because you are my relative? Tell me how much I should pay you." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was good-looking, with beautiful features. Yaakov had fallen in love with Rachel and said, "I will work for you 7 years in exchange for Rachel, your younger daughter." Laban answered, "Better that I give her to you than to someone else. Stay with me." So Yaakov worked 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed only a few days to him because he was so much in love with her. Yaakov said to Laban, "Give me my wife, since my time is finished, so that I can start living with her." Laban gathered all the men of the place and gave a banquet. In the evening he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to Yaakov, and he went in and slept with her. Laban also gave his slave girl Zilpah to his daughter Leah as her slave girl. In the morning Yaakov saw that he was with Leah, and he said to Laban, "What kind of thing is this that you've done to me? Didn't I work for you, for Rachel? Why have you deceived me?" Laban answered, "In our place, that isn't how it's done, to give the younger daughter before the firstborn. Finish the marriage week of this one, and we'll give you the other one also in exchange for the work you will do for me during yet another 7 years." Yaakov agreed to this, so he finished her week, and Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban also gave to his daughter Rachel his slave girl Bilhah as her slave girl. So not only did Yaakov go in and sleep with Rachel, but he also loved Rachel more than Leah. Then he served Laban another 7 years. Adonai saw that Leah was unloved, so he made her fertile, while Rachel remained childless. Leah conceived and gave birth to a son, whom she named Reuben, "See a son," for she said, "It is because Adonai has seen how humiliated I have been, but now my husband will love me." She conceived again, gave birth to a son, and said, "It is because Adonai has heard that I am unloved. Therefore, he has given me this son also." So she named him Shimon, hearing. Once more she conceived and had a son, and she said, "Now this time my husband will be joined to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." Therefore she named him Levi, joining. She conceived yet again and had a son, and said, "This time I will praise Adonai." Therefore she named him Yehudah, Judah, praise. Then she stopped having children. Chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing children for Yaakov, she envied her sister and said to Yaakov, "Give me children or I will die." This made Yaakov angry at Rachel. He answered, "Am I in God's place? He's the one who is denying you children." She said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go, sleep with her, and let her give birth to a child that will be laid on my knees, so that through her I too can build a family." So she gave him Bilhah, her slave girl, as his wife, and Yaakov went in and slept with her. Bilhah conceived and bore Yaakov a son. Rachel said, "God has judged in my favor. Indeed, he has heard me and given me a son." Therefore she called him Dan, he judged. Bilhah, Rachel's slave girl, conceived again and bore Yaakov a second son. Rachel said, I have wrestled mightily with my sister and won, and called him Naphtali, my wrestling. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took Zilpah, her slave girl, and gave her to Yaakov as his wife. Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, bore Yaakov a son. And Leah said, Good fortune has come. Call him Gad, good fortune. Zilpah, Leah's slave girl, bore Yaakov a second son. And Leah said, How happy I am. Women will say I am happy. And called him Asher, happy. During the wheat harvest season, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes so that I can be fertile. She answered, Isn't it enough that you have taken away my husband? Do you have to take my son's mandrakes too? Rachel said, Very well. In exchange for your son's mandrakes, sleep with him tonight. When Yaakov came in from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, You have to come and sleep with me, because I've hired you with my son's mandrakes. So Yaakov slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Yaakov a fifth son. Leah said, God has given me my hire, because I gave my slave girl to my husband. So she called him Issachar, hire, reward. Leah conceived again and bore a sixth son to Yaakov. Leah said, God has given me a wonderful gift. Now at last my son will live with me, since I have borne him 6 sons. And she called him Zebulun, living together. After this she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah, controversy over rights. Then God took note of Rachel, heeded her prayer, and made her fertile. She conceived, had a son, and said, God has taken away my disgrace. She called him Joseph. May he add, saying, May Adonai add to me another son. After Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Yaakov said to Laban, Send me on my way so that I can return to my own place, to my own country. Let me take my wives for whom I have served you, and my children, and let me go. You know very well how faithfully I have served you. Laban answered him, If you regard me favorably, then please listen. I have observed the signs that Adonai has blessed me on account of you. Name your wages, he said. I will pay them. Yaakov replied, You know how faithfully I have served you, and how your livestock have prospered under my care. The few you had before I came have increased substantially. Adonai has blessed you wherever I went. But now, when will I provide for my own household? Laban said, What should I give you? Nothing, said Yaakov. Just do this one thing for me. Once more I will pasture your flock and take care of it. I will also go through the flock and pick out every speckled, spotted, or brown sheep, and every speckled or spotted goat. These and their offspring will be my wages. And I will let my integrity stand as witness against me in the future. When you come to look over the animals constituting my wages, every goat that isn't speckled or spotted, and every sheep that isn't brown, will count as stolen by me. Laban replied, As you have said, so be it. That day Laban removed the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled or spotted, every one with white on it, and all the brown sheep, turned them over to his sons, and put 3 days' distance between himself and Yaakov. Yaakov fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Yaakov took fresh cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees, and made white streaks on them by peeling off the bark. And the plane is spelled Plane. Then he set the rods he had peeled upright in the watering troughs, so that the animals would see them when they came to drink. And since they bred when they came to drink, the animals mated inside of the rods and gave birth to streaked, speckled, and spotted young. Yaakov divided the lambs and had the animals mate with the streaked and the brown in the flock of Lavan. He also kept his own livestock separate and did not have them mixed with Laban's flock. Whenever the hardier animals came into heat, Yaakov would set up the rods in the watering troughs so that the animals would see them and conceive in front of them. But he didn't set up the rods in front of the weaker animals. Thus the more feeble were Laban's and the stronger Yaakov's. In this way the man became very rich and had large flocks, along with male and female slaves, camels, and donkeys. Chapter 31. But then he heard what Laban's sons were saying. Yaakov has taken away everything that our father once had. It's from what used to belong to our father that he has gotten so rich. He also saw that Laban regarded him differently than before. Adonai said to Yaakov, "Return to the land of your ancestors, to your kinsmen. I will be with you." So Yaakov sent for Rachel and Leah and had them come to the field where his flock was. He said to them, "I see by the way your father looks that he feels differently toward me than before. But the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, and that your father has belittled me and has changed my wages 10 times. But God did not allow him to do me any damage. If he said, 'The speckled will be your wages,' then all the animals gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The streaked will be your wages,' then all the animals gave birth to streaked young. This is how God has taken away your father's animals and given them to me. Once, when the animals were mating, I had a dream. I looked up, and there in front of me the male goats, which mated with the females, were streaked, speckled, and mottled. Then, in the dream, the angel of God said to me, 'Yaakov,' and I replied, 'Here I am.' He continued, 'Raise your eyes now and look. All the male goats mating with the females are streaked, speckled, and mottled, for I have seen everything Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a standing stone with oil, where you vowed your vow to me. Now, get up, get out of this land, and return to the land where you were born.'" And one interesting thing to note is that where it says, find the verse in here, it's verse 11. Then in the dream the angel of God said to me, so the angel of God there in Hebrew is actually written Melech Elohim. So verse 14, Rachel and Leah answered him, "We no longer have any inheritance from our father's possessions, and he considers us foreigners, since he has sold us. Moreover, he has consumed everything he received in exchange for us. Nevertheless, the wealth which God has taken away from our father has become ours and our children's anyway. So whatever God has told you to do, do." Then Yaakov got up, put his sons and wives on the camels, and carried off all his livestock, along with all the riches he had accumulated, the livestock in his possession, which he had acquired in Padan Aram, to go to Yitzhak his father in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, so Rachel stole the household idols that belonged to her father. And Yaakov outwitted Laban the Aramite by not telling him of his intended flight. So he fled with everything he had. He departed, crossed the Euphrates River, and set out for the hill country of Gilead. Not until the third day was Laban told that Yaakov had fled. Laban took his kinsman with him and spent the next 7 days pursuing Yaakov, overtaking him in the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramite in a dream that night and said to him, "Be careful that you don't say anything to Yaakov, either good or bad." When Laban caught up with Yaakov, Yaakov had set up camp in the hill country. So Laban and his kinsmen set up camp in the hill country of Gilead. Laban said to Yaakov, "What do you mean by deceiving me and carrying off my daughters as if they were captives, taken in war? Why did you flee in secret and deceive me and not tell me? I would have sent you off with joy and singing to the music of tambourines and lyres. You didn't even let me kiss my sons and daughters goodbye. What a stupid thing to do." I have it in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night and said, be careful that you don't say anything to Yaakov, neither good or bad. Granted that you had to leave because you longed so deeply for your father's house, but why did you steal my gods? Yaakov answered to Laban, because I was afraid. I said, suppose you take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find your gods with someone, that person will not remain alive. Keep note of that. That's my little thing, is just take note of that verse about where he says that somebody will die that has the gods. So with our kinsman to witness, if you spot anything that I have which belongs to you, take it back. Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Laban went into Yaakov's tent, then into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two slave girls, but he did not find them. He left Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them in the saddle of the camel and was sitting on them. Laban felt all around the tent but did not find them. She said to her father, please don't be angry that I am not getting up in your presence, but it's the time of my period. So he searched, but he didn't find the household gods. And this is something that I thought kind of interesting. And I read over it a lot and never did catch it, but so the tents of the slave girls must have been attached to Leah's because Laban entered them after Leah's, but he left Leah's to enter Rachel's. Then Yaakov became angry and started arguing with Laban. What have I done wrong? He demanded. What is my offense? But you have come after me in hot pursuit. You have found around all my stuff. But what have you found of all your household goods? Put it here in front of my kinsmen and yours, so that they can render judgment between the two of us. I have been with you for these 20 years. Your female sheep and goats haven't aborted their young, and I haven't eaten the male animals in your flocks. If one of your flock was destroyed by a wild animal, I didn't bring the carcass to you, but bore the loss myself. You demanded that I compensate you for any animal stolen, whether by day or by night. Here's how it was for me. During the day, thirst consumed me, and at night, the cold. My sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I've been in your house. I served you 14 years for your two daughters and 6 years for your flock. And you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the one whom Yitzhak fears, had not been on my side, by now you certainly have already sent me away with nothing. God has seen how distressed I've been and how hard I've worked, and last night he passed judgment in my favor. Laban answered Yaakov, the daughters are mine, the children are mine, the flocks are mine, and everything you see is mine. But what can I do today about these daughters of mine or the children they have borne? So now, come, let's make a covenant, I and you, and let it stand as a testimony between me and you. Yaakov took a stone and set it upright as a standing stone. Then Yaakov said to his kinsmen, gather some stones. And they took stones, made a pile of them, and ate there by the pile of stones. Laban called it Yegar Sahaduta, pile of witness in Aramaic, while Yaakov called it Gal Ed, pile of witness in Hebrew. Laban said, this pile witnesses between me and you today. This is why it is called Gal Ed, and also Ha-Matzpah, the watchtower, because he said, may Adonai watch between me and you when we are apart from each other. If you cause pain to my daughters, or if you take wives in addition to my daughters, then, even if no one is there with us, still God is witness between me and you. Laban also said to Yaakov, here is this pile, and here is this standing stone, which I have set up between me and you. May this pile be a witness, and may the standing stone be a witness, that I will not pass beyond this pile to you, and you will not pass beyond this pile and this standing stone to me, to cause harm. May the God of Abraham and also the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. But Yaakov swore by the one whose father Yitzhak feared. Yaakov offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his kinsmen to the meal. They ate the food and spent the whole night on the mountain. So that is the end of this reading. And the next one we will start up in chapter 32. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.